Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Tuesday, December 15th. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. As of today, new COVID-19 travel protocols have taken effect for entry into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The change now requires that all persons entering the country must arrive with a negative result of a COVID-19 PCR test done no more than 72 hours or 3 days before travel. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more.
SVG has now recorded a total of 98 COVID-19 cases, with 17 being active. The most recent cases are from the United Kingdom and Canada, countries which have been placed in the higher risk category for COVID-19. And the Ministry of Health had indicated that with an expected increase in travelers to SVG during the season, they expect there would be an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases. The protocols have therefore now entered its 8th phase, which went into effect today, as Dr. Simon Kieser-Beach explains.
Increasing the need for shortening the duration of the test you can come with in order to try to further tighten the requirements to come and decrease the likelihood of persons coming who will be positive in terms of the protocol to adjust for the increased numbers we are seeing coming out of the U.S., basically North America and Europe.
There are now 29 countries that are considered high risk, 6 of which are within CARICOM. These countries are Guyana, Suriname, Belize, St. Lucia, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago. In this category, travelers may be retested for COVID-19 on arrival in SVG, and they must mandatorily quarantine for 5 days in a facility approved by the Ministry of Health and the Tourism Authority at the individual's cost. They would be retested between day 4 and day 5 of quarantine and must continue 9 to 16 monitored days in an approved home, hotel, or vessel at the discretion of the port health officer. As regards medium-risk countries, these are considered a country of residence that the traveler was present in for at least 21 days. Countries that are considered medium risk are Cuba, Barbados, Grenada, and Antigua-Barbuda. They also have to arrive with a RT-PCR test done 72 hours prior to arrival and must quarantine for 24 to 48 hours at home to await clearance. They may continue 9 to 16 monitored days in an approved facility at the discretion of a port health officer. Low-risk countries are Taiwan, Anguilla, Dominica, Montserrat, and St. Kitts Nevis. Travelers from these countries must also arrive with a negative PCR test result, which was done 72 hours prior to arrival. Persons arriving with a 72-hour negative SARS-CoV-2 test result will not need to take another swab at the airport. These travelers will have a repeat test done on the 2nd or 3rd day of their stay, and during this period will comply with resort-specific quarantine. In order to be discharged from quarantine, there must be a negative PCR test, and persons should not have been in close contact with a positive COVID-19 case. For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
All is now set for the opening of the first 9 Mornings program at Heritage Square and across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Chairman of the National 9 Mornings Committee, Orandi Bomani Charles, said there is a packed program which will start tomorrow at 4 a.m.
Wednesday, the 16th, 4 a.m. Kingstown. All of the excitement is back. The Digital Bring Your Song and Come competition is back. That was a huge hit last year. The 9 Mornings train is back. We have some of the top artists, bands, groups, musicians on stage. Fun games for the family, attractive prizes, toys for the children. So we're bringing cheer after a very difficult year, and again we do so safely, responsibly, and we will be responsive to any changes in the.
And Vice President of the 9 Mornings Committee, Lennox Bowman, said they have been working with the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, which has clearly laid out the protocols that must be followed at any large gathering. He also stressed the importance of adhering to all the protocols, especially as some returning nationals may be tempted to break quarantine.
To have you would please obey the rules of the quarantine.
If it says 14 days, it is 14 days.
Yes, because we are seeing so many strange things happening in terms of where and when your test for negative comes, and I don't think anybody would want to be that person who is responsible for a community spread or even a local spread. So So far, I think people have been quite responsive and quite disciplined. We just want them to continue over this very exciting season to just observe the protocols.
Meanwhile, several communities and homes have already turned on their lights, while others will do so from tonight. Bowman said that the response this year to the lighting up and 9 mornings overall has been encouraging.
We have not seen any indication at all to suggest that there's any less vigor, excitement, energy in this year's. As a matter of fact, they seem to have some pent-up energies, no carnival and all kind of thing, to really come out and really not so much in terms of any revelry, but to enjoy, to make sure that they end 2020 on a very good note and with a lot of hope and faith going forward into 2021. So they have been doing the work. I think we'll have some fantastic lighting competitions this year. We have said to them very early that lights don't catch COVID. So and some of the programs are being extended there.
The 9 Nights of Lights program at the Botanic Gardens also opens this evening. A pediatrician has been providing advice to parents and guardians to help keep their children safe in the kitchen during preparations for Christmas. Dr. Sharianne Davis Andrews is urging parents to keep hot pots and other kitchen utensils out of the reach of children so as to prevent them from being burnt. The advice to parents on how to keep children happy and safe during the holiday season was shared on the Caribbean Kidney and Medical Center Facebook page.
Please keep your hot pans, pots, and containers containing hot liquids far out of the reach of children. It's also recommended that pots on the stove, that the handles are turned inwards to prevent persons from bumping into it and causing a spill. Do not leave candles or matches unattended. Oftentimes, children will take these for toys. Ensure sockets are covered and that children aren't allowed to play with decorative lights.
Dr. Andrews cautioned parents about the dangers of leaving cleaning supplies and medications within the reach of children.
Toys. When you buy toys, ensure that there are no loose fitting parts, especially for younger ones, as these loose parts could be a choking hazard. When buying a toy, think safety first. If buying a bicycle, get a helmet, as you are promoting safe practices. When visiting relatives and friends, ensure that the house that you are going to is child-proof and child-safe.
The pediatrician is also urging parents to buy age-appropriate toys for their children to avoid choking incidents.
This is a time in which persons are doing lots of cleaning, so there may be bleach, detergents around the home. Be aware that children are at risk of toxic ingestions. So please keep these chemicals in their original, well-labeled bottles far away from children, locked away. Do not place them in juice or water bottles, as this could be mistaken as something that they should drink. Lock away medications. Oftentimes, children may take these for candy.
The second batch of 18 farmers from the Seasonal Agriculture Workers Program received certificates on November 26th after participating in 1 week of training. Coordinator of the program, Sherry Denny Edwards, said the training aims to increase the quality of workers provided for the Canadian Farm Workers Program.
In our selection of participants, develop a training module so that, they would not be going to Canada without an idea of what is expected of them. Not just the practical skill sets, but also the softer skills of group dynamics, conflict resolution, and work ethics and things of that nature. We thought it was important for them to be trained in those areas.
Denny Edwards said the 18 participants were trained on the swap contract so they would understand what is expected of them and their employers. They also received hands-on training on an agricultural farm at Orange Hill.
Through the technical aspect, learning the different skill sets that would be necessary for them to function on jobs that they would acquire on the farm program. like to say thanks to the unit that is responsible, which is the capacity building and training unit in the employment services unit, Mr. Ademola Williams and Ms. Patricia Sampson for organizing the training sessions, and to the facilitators, Mr. Kesley Cambridge. We had Rohan MacDonald. We also had Marcus Richards, Mr. Noel Bruce, and Ademola Williams himself, who would have been the facilitators for these training sessions.
The program coordinator said the next step for these workers will be placement at different farms.
When we do get requests for new positions, these fellows would be first in line to capitalize on these opportunities. What we're doing is creating a pool of workers. So for 2021, we are creating a pool of 100 workers, and this is the second batch of participants that were trained in the pool. And we will continue to do these trainings into 2021 so that we are ready, to capitalize on any opportunity that would arise. I would like to say thank.
Meanwhile, Marcus Richards, who has responsibility for extension and advisory services at the Labor Department, spoke to the seasonal farm workers on health and safety at the workplace. This was done at the Labor Department, during which Richards focused on ways to prevent back injuries.
Engaging in unaccustomed work. So you might be going there, right? They might put you to drive a tractor. So the movement of a tractor and the movement of a vehicle that you are accustomed driving here, two different things, right? So that is another stress factor there again. Engaging in repetitive lifting with inadequate rest, just like what you were saying, all right? So you need to rest in between. Bending or twisting while lifting, and this is one of the worst things. We take this for granted. Many a time you see you lift something and it's spinning wrong. No. You go in the direction that we're going to see some of them, right? Lifting objects that are too heavy. You must know if something is too heavy for you. Don't go play no macho man, not because you see a pretty girl along the road, you say, boy, let me show you that I could lift that up.
He added that back injuries can be so severe that the worker will never be able to work again. So he encouraged the workers to be careful and not to lift things that are heavy.
We're saying here back impairments, which means the effect can range from mild to temporary to incapacitating and even to permanent. So you could have permanent. This one of the worst things. If I don't know if any one of you have ever had back pains, trust me. Back pain ain't a nice thing. Once you have back pain, you could hardly do anything else at all. That is very, very important. And to me, this is one of the most important areas. All right? So we say many acute back injuries occur when doing activities such as the following that exceed the capacity of the muscles, the tendons, and your disc. Because these three are what bears the brunt of the weight and the pressure.
Participants also shared their experience of being trained for their tasks prior to taking up work in the Canadians Farm Workers Program next year.
I've learned a lot of things, but certain things that we take for granted is the most important things, and certain skills level I've actually noticed how to go about them.
Alright, into this training I learned about health and safety and how to go about things. I learned about back preventions, back injury and back preventions, how to manually lift stuff instead of doing the regular thing we used to do. I learned how.
The time has come for the two major political parties in this country to review the question of constitutional reform. Well, that's the view which Queen's Counsel Parnell Campbell expressed on his Law and You program on SVG-TV on Monday evening, in which he looked at part 2 of the topic, the decline of civil society. Campbell said, as a people, if we are serious about reform, governance should not be left up to the politicians alone.
We can't leave the Constitution as it is and expect all of a sudden there will be an improvement in governance. No, experience has taught us that things are getting worse and worse. We are becoming more and more tribalistic. We have a situation where now, whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but people are complaining that you can only get road work if you demonstrate affiliation with one side. That is the allegation being made. As I said, whether it's true or false, I do not know, but that is the firm belief of many people. And many people are saying, unless you show that you're a party person in sympathy with the ruling party, you are not favored with various things which ordinary citizens ought to be favored with from the state.
The Queen's Counsel said as a politically neutral person, he does not see things getting better or the society being further developed if the system does not change. Campbell, who was the chairman of the Constitutional Review Commission, pointed out that if matters continue along the same path, things will continue to deteriorate. Campbell noted that 11 years since the referendum, if there is a change of heart among the people, then they should push for constitutional reform so that changes can be made to the system of governance. This will see politicians relinquishing some of the powers they now hold. Some 16 police officers marked the completion of 20 years of service in the constabulary over the last week. On Monday, December 8th, 15 officers reached that milestone, and one did so on December 11th. The batch who marked the milestone on December 8th comprises Sergeant Hakeem Smart and 11 corporals in Dwight James, Ronald Noel, Winston Samuel, Jason King, Cullen Matthews, Romeo Brown, Cordell Campbell, Colin May, Damian Dasent, Neville Richards, and Embreth McDowell, along with police constables Keith Andrews, Lenroy Fredericks, and Anthony Charles. Constable Kenroy Martin attained the milestone on December 11th. The Commissioner of Police, Colin John, the gazetted officers, and other ranks of the police force have extended congratulations to the officers on their attainment and their dedication for duty and service to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the police force. 4 automotive shops here have received a supply of bins as part of a pilot program to protect coral reefs along the south coast of the mainland. The South Coast Reef Guardian Automotive Pilot Project is designed to sensitize these establishments about the importance of protecting the environment and, in particular, the coral reef ecosystem, and also to enable them not to contribute to marine pollution. The automotive shops, ASL Autos, Ali's Garage, Tony's Garage, and Lucas Service Center, were involved in a workshop conducted by the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority, where they learned how to dispose and drain automotive oils properly. They were also engaged in a beach cleanup of waste oil that was improperly disposed of. Each participant was given oil draining equipment and bins to help them properly dispose of their oils. The bins and equipment were handed over at a ceremony on December 11th at Ali's Garage at Villa.